tonight's episode is sauced up by Grimaldi's pasta sauce.
Because life's too short for bland spaghetti.
That's right. Grab a jar and thank us later. Get ready, because this episode is on fire. We've got the legendary Robin Antin, the mastermind behind the Pussycat Dolls.
She's spilling the tea on building an empire, making waves in entertainment, and the magic of dance. Plus, she's got some stories you won't believe.
Trust me, you do not want to miss this one. Hit play and let's go. Cozy in the closet. This is Peter's favorite part. He's like, oh my God, how do we begin?
Okay,
what question are you asking?
No,
first?
I do have a beginning though.
He's going to say a bit about
I
you.
love it.
No, this is it. We're already in it, babe. We press start. The start is happening.
Oh, okay. Well,
This is how I begin.
Here we go.
This is what I thought.
It's
All
already,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Robin Antin is an American dancer, choreographer, and entrepreneur best known as the founder of the Pussycat Dolls, a burlesque dance troupe that evolved into a successful pop girl group. She started the group in 1995 as a modern burlesque act in Los Angeles before turning into a mainstream music group in the early 2000s, featuring singers like Nicole. So my personal question is like, what happened right before that? Everything that happened before.
Yes.
And I don't mean right before, like everything before that.
Everything.
You were born.
Yeah.
And then we
And
ended
then
up
what? Yeah. Well, like,
in here, you know?
Well, okay, so I was born, first of all, this is my hood. I was born right here in the valley, like down
Yes,
the street. Okay,
valley
so
girl.
I'm a real true valley girl.
Love
number
that.
one. And I started dancing when I was 9, and I just fell in love with it right away. And
Right.
I didn't know that I was going to be this. I didn't know I was going to be a professional dancer. I loved it so much, and I was taking class, and and then I got a scholarship at Dupre Dance Academy. I don't know if you know that on
Ooh.
3rd, yeah. And I then just became like a professional dancer. I started dancing, doing like commercials and videos and TV and
Wow.
film and all of that. And I remember my parents thinking like, you're going to be a dancer? Like what?
Yeah.
Even though they actually knew how to like a partner dance. That's how they met. My parents met. My mom's British.
So you
my
had
dad's
a
from
thing.
New York. They
Oh,
met
lovely.
in London when my dad was in the army, and they met in a like a ballroom,
like a social
sort of a social club,
social
like
club.
what's
Yeah, because
Yeah,
because
it's
that's
like
where
a-
it started. Ballroom dancing started as a social activity.
yes,
It's
that's
like-
that's
yeah.
how they met, and it's like a social
That's
hall.
beautiful.
As a matter of fact, Len Goodman, rest in peace. He was a soldier, came back from
Yes.
I believe the Navy. I might be mistaken.
Okay.
I think in his ripe 20s.
Yes.
And he walked into a social studio like that.
Yeah,
And
that's
then the next
same-
thing you know is what you know. But that's like your parents.
That's our parents. My dad saw my mom and said, she's my wife, and my
Wow.
mom was sort of like this little British, little. Can I say bad words?
Yes,
Yeah, why
of
not?
course.
We can just-
Head.
Is that where you get your fire from?
Yeah,
Is-
she's
is-
like golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he kept bugging her and bugging
It
her.
sounds like Peter and I.
Yeah.
She's the one with the accent.
Yeah. She's like, and she was 16 and he was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he kept on and on and on with her. Finally, he got her to dance with him, and they were like swing dance. I mean, they were really, really good. And then they ended up getting married at 17. He got her pregnant immediately.
Oh my gosh.
And then she had my older brother, and they stayed in London for 5 years or something, and then moved to New York. My dad was stationed back in New York.
Okay.
Had my other brother in New York, and then moved to the Valley, and then had me here, and then me and my other brother Jonathan. Yeah,
Wow.
who's the Jonathan's
What a
the
life.
hairstylist. He's the, I don't know if you know him, Jonathan. He had a show called Blowout. He's like the real like crazy wild.
I do know that show.
Tattoos and wild and he's an incredible hairstylist. He's kind of, to the stars. And then my other brother, Steve, wrote and directed Burlesque, the film. And
I did not know that.
And has now turned into a musical, which is going to the West End in London, opening in July. And it's so exciting because I'm a creative producer on it and co-choreographer.
That's amazing.
I know.
Congratulations.
And it's really exciting after all these years.
Yeah.
So, and he's been a part of, my whole Pussycat doll world forever. And we just, we have a very creative family.
What happened now that I know this?
Yeah.
This
So-
is almost like you were, bred to be, and with the
Yes.
background in dance, she'll be able to now,
Yes.
parlay.
Well,
right?
I started, it was like when I was dancing and doing all of this stuff, I always had all these ideas like costumes and I my grandfather was a tailor and taught me how to sew, and I was making all these costumes in a
guys were
costume
like-
room, and I met Christina Applegate in dance
her.
class, and I just after one thing led to another. I ended up living with her, and in this closet room, I built this whole thing. It was all my costumes, and so then I decided that I wanted to do like shows. So then she was like, I know Johnny Depp. He just opened up the Viper Room. We went to the Viper Room. Next thing you know, we have shows there every week, and it just became this like amazing show. It was just me and 3 girls.
Just your friends?
Just
or
my friends.
Yeah?
Me, Carla, Joey, Lindsley. We were the girls.
Wow.
And we did that I brought in Carmit, and I brought in other girls, and Carmen Electra. And then
Wow.
there were like celebrities in the audience hearing about it out of nowhere, going like, this is this cool underground.
But you were driving this business train. I'm trying to
Yes.
stick with that part as well.
I
The creative
decided.
side is amazing.
I decided at that time Johnny Depp said to me, there needs to be a name. What's the name? And, after a while, and I talked about it with my brother, who's very creative, Steven, and I came up with Pussycat Dolls. I was inspired by a lot of different things. And so that was the business side of me, where I knew that it was like, okay, I had a business that was a show that was, a structured show that I had to do every single week at a certain time every single week. Not necessarily auditioning dancers, because I knew all the dancers from dance class,
Right.
dancing my whole life, and I'd bring in different dancers, and it became a thing. It was just I remember Gwen Stefani saying to me,
So many names. I'm like,
I know.
Gwen,
Well,
Carmen Electra.
I know.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. Like Gwen was in the audience, and I imagine this is the stage right here. I would when the curtains would close, I would jump off the stage instead of letting the curtains close all the way. I would jump off the stage and go, Gwen, do you want to be in the show? And she's like I didn't care.
Oh
So
my
you
God.
did that. You did that's. I respect that.
with
That's that
everyone. I
hustle.
mean, I had, Gwen, Paris Hilton, Carmen Electra, Christina Applegate, Christina Aguilera, Scarlett Johansson, Charlize Theron, Eva Longoria.
They all came to watch,
These are all girls that were in the show. And so if you can dance, then you
way.
dance. If you can sing, then you sing.
I knew
if
this
you,
part.
if you,
I knew you didn't know this part. I knew that you were gonna love this part.
yeah.
I didn't know, like,
But this is
Scarlett
now-
Johansson can dance
Well,
or
hold on,
sing.
but this
so
is not-
Scarlett, if you couldn't dance, my brother would write dialogue for them to be the MC.
There you go.
Okay.
And he's such a good writer that it would be like people would be laughing, like it had a tongue-in-cheek kind of feel to it. So it turned into something that when finally Gwen said to Jimmy Iovine from Interscope Records, I'm doing this weird show that it's just sort of this crazy show. Do you want to come see it? And he was like, what is it? And she's like, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. It's just called Pussycat Dolls, and it's just this weird show. And he came down, he brought Bono, and the next thing you know, I know.
I cannot believe your life.
I know,
It's
yes.
so
There was
amazing.
one night Prince was standing in the audience
Oh
too,
my
and I know.
God.
Anyway, we did the show, and then I had a meeting with Jimmy, and the next thing you know, he signed me and the name, and I had like 100 girls on the show on
100?
the stage. Well, let's just say 30.
Through attached to the
Okay.
project.
Yeah,
by
on
that point.
the stage, this size of this table, in the show, because I just kept bringing them in. And some would leave, some would go, some would leave, some would go. And Jimmy said, okay, look, this is a recording group. And I'm like, I mean, I don't even know where to begin, because I was thinking it's a Broadway show.
Right.
And I'm all about live, and I love live theater. And he said, let's just get some songs, and let's maybe re-audition and get some girls and see what happens in the audition. And that's when Nicole came in, and Melody.
So
And
now you were actually
this is 10 years
auditioning.
later.
Right now, so 10 years you built the brand.
Yep.
Jimmy saw the brand.
Yep.
By the way,
Can
talk
I-
about outliers moment in your in a career, or in a moment in time of dance,
Yes.
right, where you were in a place at the time, and in the way that all of these names went through your show. These ladies that you named, they're all same generation.
And I know. And then
They were all here, and they were all killing it, and they
And
were
they
all
were-
up and coming, and they were all,
and they were afraid. Like, I remember Gwen saying, I could never do what you guys do. And I'm like, you're Gwen Stefani. You're a rock star. What are you, crazy?
Literally.
And the next thing I'm in her garage teaching her, like I was telling you,
That's amazing.
like how to go like this and like this and like this. 1 and a 2. And just kind of giving them the attitude and the presence of performing like a rock star, like they do, or Christina Aguilera, like they do. I would never say, do it like me. Let's see what you do, and let me follow your vibe, and then we're gonna make it work. And it was just Pamela Anderson. I mean, it was just nonstop. Like, every week was someone different. And then I moved it from the Viper Room to the Roxy, and turned it into a
My
really
God.
like very it was a very eccentric sort of like a show that no one had ever seen before. The girls came from the back, and they walked through the audience, and they were all over the audience.
Very
and it was
immersive.
very
But it was
immersive.
always like
and
a
it was
very-
the first sort of time, kind of in a way that it was like a movement.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
the wall, and also, yeah.
But it was like always burlesque, always
Well,
sexy, always
yeah.
sultry. Like it was
my
heels.
idea in my head that a lot of people don't know is that I didn't decide I'm going to do a burlesque show. What happened was, and going back a little bit, is just that we had nowhere to change. We had no dressing room. So I designed all I there was no dressing room at the Viper Room. So I was putting up a curtain where it was literally like as big as just like this little area here, and I had like 100,000 girls in there trying to dress. So what I did was I decided, okay, we're gonna wear the bras and the panties, like think like more like Marilyn Monroe, and like the more high-waisted, pointy bra, that kind of thing, not like lingerie like you think today. It was
Right.
more like a vintage. I'd go to all the vintage stores, and I'd buy all this vintage lingerie. So that was the very bottom, and then over that was like a little tiny mini skirt. I'm like, no, not short enough. And then I would cut it all and put Velcro on it. So then there's the skirt. Then
Wow.
the top. Then I'd buy like a top, and I put fringe, like really cool, beaded, and
bugle
sequiny
beads, yeah.
fringe and all of that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I would do a corset, and then on top of that, I would do a dress that was all big, sequins, and very much in the style of what you wear on the show.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, kind of the same thing. But everything had big giant zippers on it.
Right.
So we were able to just zip. So I would choreograph to music that I would go into the studio with a producer and say, okay, it would go like, whatever the music, and a boom, gada, 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 right, taking off the gloves.
So cool.
And so I had like a girl who in the show named Rachel, who was not a dancer. She actually was one of the best, like, playing a stripper sort of role. Because she was not a dancer, she was so good, because she just was like casual. She just like throw the glove off, throw off the dress, throw off the skirt, throw off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't so
and
perfect.
I had the bathtub girl. I that's when I remember meeting Dita. Nobody knew who she was then, and I put
Dita
her in the
Ventis.
show. And nobody knew her. She was a girl, and I was like, you're gonna actually wear like you're gonna wear a bra and panties in the show, and this is what you're gonna wear, and rhinestone everything.
And then she goes on
And
to
then she
have
goes
a
on, yeah.
lifetime of literally that is her career.
That's her career. And I mean, people were just like, what are we watching? So it was just eye candy that it didn't quite make like perfect sense where it was this like huge story, because I was just not into stories. My brother helped me kind of write sort of a thread that was about like these girls that their boys that were sailor boys were going off to war, and they would come out and they would like dance with the boys, and the boys I would have the boys lined up around the stage and holding beer bottles. Chris Judd was one of them, by the way.
Wow.
Brian Friedman. I mean, all the boys, right?
Drop the names.
All the boys. Like I
wish we were there back then.
I know.
This sounds
it was a
so
time.
great.
Like Hef was in the audience with all the Playboy bunnies, and like all the sailor boys were lined up in a circle with beer bottles, going, yeah, like screaming, like, come on, girls, and we're dancing. And I mean, we were dancing because I rehearsed them like every single day. We were perfect.
Yeah.
And I had girls. I would always say, can you get your leg up? If you can do this, you're in the show. Right? So, because I'd be on the bar.
Tough? Were you tough? Was the selection process difficult? Was this like, you had this, not quote, conveyor belt, but at the same time, it's hard. Everybody thinks just because you're in LA, it just rains talent. You have to also know how to find talent that can work.
You do.
Because there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent that's like, oh man, you're too talented, and this is just a problem. I'd rather people that can be easier to deal with.
Yes,
I have a lot of pressure on
and the relationships and everyone.
Energy in the room, so on and so forth. It seems like you have so many people that went through every project that I had. A couple like Sway, where we had 32 performers and all that. Like it was too much for me.
It's so hard.
It was so much. So Val and I settled on the 10 people, 5 couples max. That's the max show that we
10,
want.
10 is good.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you seem to have like when every name for everybody watching, they're gonna go and be like, we know Brian now. We know Chris Judd now. We know this. You sound like you just name dropping, but that it's important to say that you're not.
They were all.
You're saying the facts. This is you had a place where everybody had an opportunity,
and it was
to
a
show
collaboration. Like I give credit where credit's due. We all got in there and we all worked together. And it would be like Chris would be choreographing the boys, and I'd be doing.
Right.
At one point down the line, Kenny Wormold, my partner, came in and choreographed for the group. But this is when the group became the group.
Right.
But it was everyone was so talented that it was sort of like, okay, you work on this part, I'm working on this part. Mikey Minden was my co-choreographer. Was my assistant, and then became my co-choreographer.
This
and
is
helped
before.
Me. This is all during.
This is that 10 years.
This
of
is all
building
in
the
that
brand.
10 years, and in that 10 years, I was a choreographer. So it was sort of like a calling card for me. I would use it as, if you want to see my choreography, you want to see what I do, come down to the show and see what I do and see how I work, and just kind of get my vibe, get to know me. We'd have a meeting after. And then I became like the in-house choreographer for Friends. Like I did all the Friends. I did the routine.
The routine.
I am.
We just saw. We were in New York
so shocked.
yesterday. We just.
We're not
flew
shocked
back.
in a bad way. I'm just like, wow, what haven't you done? Who haven't you met?
New Year's
the
Rockin' Eve
routine.
routine. Yeah, I did it, and I did all the choreography. It's not like they had dancing on it all the time, but they called me in whenever they wanted. Like, I was sort of like, I had a real sort of comedic way of
when
choreographing.
Rachel needed to move.
Yeah, and then also like this, I was also known as sort of like the queen of sex choreographer.
Oh, we love Queen of Sex.
Like, of course, and I did the I was Chris Applebaum, who's one of my best friends. He's directed every music video from the 90s and 2000s that you can think of. He's so talented. and he directed the Paris Hilton That's Hot burger
Campaign.
campaign, the Carl's Jr. where she's eating the burger. So I would be on the car next to her, crawling.
Oh yeah,
and
the
dressed.
movement coach.
Yeah, and then and then like, you know, with the hose and hosing down the car, and then I'd be like 5, 6, 7, bite, lick, eat, lick, touch the ketchup on. And I know.
I mean, listen, it's a job. Somebody's got to do it.
I want to be
and
you.
she has to do it on time.
I know.
1, 2, 3, lick,
because
touch.
they don't know. You know what I mean?
No,
they
of
would
course.
Just be like Robin, just stand there and then and be their mirror, you know. And that's sort of what I became for a lot of non-dancers that were, you know, that were looking for choreographers that wanted to have someone that could be movement coach. I mean, and you guys know how it is dancing with dancers that don't know have never danced before. You know what I mean? It's
well, everything needs to be choreographed. People think at home, like that Carl's Jr. ad, maybe she's just doing it herself, you know, biting into the burger, but it's like every step, every second is choreographed.
And it's great when they take it and they learn it, and then they you just go, oh my God, like, you know, you watch it and you're like, it's so good.
Yeah.
You know, every time I watch it, I'm like, I'm just blown away. You know, I just went to her birthday party. I was with Chris actually, and we were looking, and we're like the biggest, because she had this huge like LED screen, and the biggest one was the commercial, and then she had all these other ones around, and we were like, the biggest one is the burger.
Of course.
Sorry, Carl's Jr.
So you had that 10 years. You building the brand.
Yeah.
All of these amazing things happening. First of all, are you even planning, okay, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna go into recording, and then we're gonna go into music, and then I'm gonna be a big superstar, this and that and the other? Or are you just going through that like low-hanging fruit dancer motion? Plus
still,
you know, but still very much a
business.
pushy hustler business, whatever you want to call it.
I hustled like nonstop.
And then Jimmy IV happened.
And I, you know, obviously I had agents and I did all that. And I mean, I wasn't an actress, but I did a lot of jobs. And then when Jimmy came into my life and was, you know, sat me down and we talked about it, and we said, okay, let's talk about a recording group. Let's talk about a real recording group. Okay. We did some shows where, you know, we tried out different things. We did different shows. We had a lot of the girls, but we realized a recording group is 5 girls, you know, or let's say 6. At the very beginning, 7, because I had myself in it. And then I was like, okay. So I after those meetings, it took a while, and we really had to plan, you know, every moment of what we were doing. And also, you know, there were girls in it that weren't going to be in the show anymore. That was hard for me because I didn't want to be like, you're fired. You know what I mean? It was just sort of like, this is where we're going. And all the other girls had other, you know, they had other things that they were doing in their lives too. Right. So it was sort of like, I wasn't saying like, you can't do that or you can't do that. It was sort of like, you know, we didn't know that it was going to blow up. I mean, we had no idea. Right. Jimmy really believed in it. His team believed in it, and I went with it. And then we got some songs that Jimmy really believed in, and all of his, you know, the Universal and, you know, Interscope. And we just started going into the recording studio, and Melody was singing and Nicole was singing, and it kind of just became like, all of a sudden it was like Nicole just sort of, I'll tell you this first. When I remember when Nicole first auditioned, when we first met her, because we were at the end of not of our rope, but we were at the end of the auditions. We did 3 full days of hundreds of girls, and don't even ask me how they even knew, because we were just a club show. You know what I mean? But
right.
they knew, but they knew that there was that there was a music, you know, partner behind it, and they knew that there was a label. They knew there was a label and an engine behind it, but they didn't know what it was going to be. And I remember we were sort of at the end, and then all of a sudden it was like, we have one more girl. I mean, it was like it felt like a movie. One
Wow.
more girl, you know, and then in walks Nicole, looks like Nicole, but like, you know, but like, and I mean, really no different. Just, you know, no makeup, stunning,
Yeah.
glossy skin, so beautiful, you know. And I'm thinking, no way can she do. There's no way. She's too pretty.
She is gorgeous.
I know. And she walked in and she said, "Okay, here's the deal. I didn't learn it was like she didn't learn the choreography, but she had the music that we had." So she said, "Is it okay if I just do my own thing?" And I was like, "Oh God, you know, like,
oh yeah.
God, okay."
This is what we love the most when somebody comes in. Can I
Here's
just,
where it ends.
just audition and and I'll just do my own stuff.
So she said, "First, I'm gonna sing." And we were like, "Okay." So she sat down. She did like she did something at the piano that was just absolutely stunning, and we were like, "Wow, okay." I mean, this girl it's too good to be true. And then she sang something that we had a lot of the girls singing, and it was just a cover, and it was just like she just blew. We were at the I think we were at SIR and a record plant.
Okay.
And she just blew our minds. We were like, this is not even you know, because she's saying
so
like
she's vocalist.
People don't know that.
Trained vocal.
They didn't know
professional.
that. You know what I mean? Like until now. Now she's on Broadway, and now they know. But they didn't know that through the whole process of the group, because the songs were really pop, and she didn't really ever get the chance to actually show her, you know, the real chops. And so she then we said, okay, now's the dance. Now here comes the dance. And
hold your breath.
Hold your breath.
Let's see if she can do it.
Please, Amal. Please. She just went crazy and just like did this dance. It was so stunning. It was so amazing. And then, of course, here comes the leg. She just went bam. And I'm like,
she's a trained dancer who had
dancer,
come prepared,
like,
and also just happens to be crazy trained vocalist.
Yes, like she did it all,
and looks good.
And you guys didn't know of her.
Not a clue.
Wow.
She had a manager named Jeff that brought her in, and they were just like, you know, she would be great. She was in another group, and you know, we wanted to try her out, and we were like, she's in. That's it. So she came in, and then it took a while to kind of figure out who was going to sing what, and you know, we were kind of, it wasn't like we knew exactly what we were doing right away. You know, one thing led to another, and then we did a song for a movie. We did Sway for that Sway.
Yep.
We did a cover for a film, and then we found Don't Ya. And that was the moment. It was like I have chills. Like I remember we were at the record plant, and the craziest thing is Nicole was singing that song before the music came in. She was sitting in the lounge singing that song because she heard it on the radio, and it was actually I think she had heard it in a club or something, and it was actually like someone else had had it. And then it wasn't working, and it ended up just sort of coming over to the Pussycat Dolls. Just kind of worked out that way, and it was just a weird kind of like it just it was just
like me.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, like everything you did. So this now, you know.
Yes.
Here I am.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do. I've just finished. I don't even know what am I like. I finished high school. Anyway, so this Pussycat, and I'm also in dance, but I'm in specific dance, you know, just saying we all kind of now I'm just saying, and then bam, this Pussycat Doll stuff comes out. And
no
I'm
one
thinking,
knew what
I'm
it
like,
was.
they are perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. My personal was like, it's the vocals and the movement. And before that, it was like either or, and the movement was great.
Nobody could dance really
but
before.
the movement was pop, and it was usually, I mean, Britney did a thing, but again, not a vocal champion.
Yeah.
You know, somebody else did a thing.
Yeah.
The boy bands are doing, you know, Len's best. He's not the dancer. Neither is Joe Fatone. Joe, I love you.
I know,
but
right.
you know
but
what I'm saying is that
they would say too, you know.
And then these girls come out, And the sound is fantastic, but also the movement is like top notch.
It's top,
and it's like what you said. You guys were blown away by the fact that she could do it all.
I had everything so in my mind, like it has to be this perfect, where everything we do, that it has to be strong, empower. Not even so much female empowerment. It was just empowered, and sexy, but just powerful, which was hard to do because people would think like, and again, it all of a sudden had this burlesque thing because we were like taking back at the clubs, we were taking off the clothes. So all of a sudden people were thinking, oh, it's a burlesque show. So when Nicole came in, she was sort of like, no, but is it burlesque? And it was sort of like, okay, it's not, you know what I mean? And when we did Don't Ya, the stylist that came in, and of course I was a part of all the styling, and I knew what I wanted. Andrea Lieberman, who is absolutely genius. She worked with Gwen Stefani for 100 years, and she knew what she was doing. We trusted her so, we had everyone on it, from the hair to the makeup. I mean, it was just like the team was brilliant. And the girls were getting dressed, and I remember walking into the dressing room. It was probably about as big as this, and the girls are getting dressed, and they're wearing like backwards trucker hats like yours, and ripped jeans.
Hot. So hot.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Already hot.
For me, I was like, wait a minute. I am used to the girls being in like, very sleek, sexy, you know what I mean? So I was sort of like, is this going to work? I don't know if this is going to work. You know what I mean? And so I always remember like Jimmy always giving me that talk, like, you got to trust the process. You know what I mean? You got to trust that like we're going mainstream, but we're keeping it sexy, and we're keeping what you started because you created a brand already. So then we went with that, and then we kind of sort of took off the layers a little bit down to this, down to this, down to this, down to buttons. And
that's what I was gonna come to. Yes. So the buttons was the big.
Buttons was the moment because we won best dance award for the dance awards and MTV, and it was such an incredible moment because we got to do what we wanted, because there were so many different scripts. What do we call them when you write the decks, or no, not decks.
Like a promotional deck.
They were just directors sending in their pitches. And so we would read them, and they were great, but it was sort of like we start off with the lighting, and then we go to this, and we go to that, and then the girls are, and I'm like, I don't know, like it just doesn't feel right. It feels to me like it's just all black. And it's sleek, and it's glassy black floor, and I just saw the girls walking, which brought me to today when I say walking is, if you can't walk and look like hot as in heels, you know what I mean? Like,
of course,
you're out.
You're out. You got to know how to walk in heels first.
Absolutely,
I would go
it's the main thing.
Yeah, somewhere down the line, I had a question where you would segue how you. Probably amongst the who put on map the movement in heels as a direction too. And now we have the dance style called heels.
Of
now
course,
we have to judge it. And I'm like, I don't think it belongs in the same format. But having said that, this like you said, it's empowering. I see it. I've never experienced heels myself.
Like
but
getting
like, I'm not the one to say
putting it together with a look and a feel.
Yeah.
But like, kudos to you, like, on top of everything else, because for me, when I first saw the Pussycat Dolls, it wasn't this, too raunchy, something that you couldn't,
it
was like vulgar. It wasn't. It was like
but classy,
classy, but so sexy and so precise, and every girl was just beautiful, and the lines were exquisite. Like, I loved the fact that I could watch their video clip. Is that what you call it? The video clip? Back in the day, the video clip. and I could appreciate their dance training.
Yes, yeah.
Like I could look at it not just like a, you know,
No. Exactly.
I don't want to name names of any other, you know, pop person, but like,
right, yeah,
they
knew.
looked stunning.
I get to say because she's a homie.
Yeah,
I love the
No,
Spice Girls.
and I love them too, and I love all the girls, and they're all amazing.
Mel
But
admitted she's like,
right? She got it. Mel
That's
got
all
it.
it is.
She's got it. Yeah, right. I mean, even like Victoria, like you know, like they all love to dance, but they all have their own thing, and you know, it's so cute when you look back at, like, you know, tell me what you want. What's it called?
the
If you want to be my love.
you told Spice Girls. Yeah,
So,
no,
like,
I
when
mean
you-
that they were different. They were different, even
Yeah,
in the way
it was fun.
Mel was talking about, because I danced with Mel on the show and Mel B, and so I spent. I am name dropping in my own
No,
closet,
you
but
were. I saw.
I
it.
spent
It was
time
in
with
the-
them, and
yeah.
I saw them. I'm like, nah, you know what? They are something else, and they are completely different. And it was like, that's why I keep saying, the Pussycat Dolls, I have not seen anything
I know.
like that before.
Still, I know.
We had
Yeah.
girl bands, we had boy bands, we had 5, lineup, we had the
Yes.
visual, but it never got to that point
Yes.
where dance was
And
such a big component in the way it was put together.
They all had trained from when they were so young, and like we were all in dance class together, and we were doing, you know, like the group that became the actual final group was like, we all were so just our dynamic was like, we had the language of dance, you know, we knew exactly what to do, and we knew how to make it different. Like I'll just use Kim again, I always use her when she would do her leg, and like she would just use, you know, no hand, no arm, no hand, leg would go up and she'd just hold it, and then she'd give you a tilt that was just like way over, and then just stand there, and then I would build these costumes that were like all like striped and like kind of almost like circus like, but that had a burlesque twist, but a rock and roll twist, and kind of a you know, a modern, it was like, you know, bringing back sort of a modern day, I guess, burlesque type look, if you will, but
it
really it was
gorgeous.
something that every time
so
people would
good.
say to me, what is it? I'd say, you know what, it's honestly, it's something that it's so hard to explain, that I'm inspired by so many different things. I grew up with my mom, God bless her, she just passed 3 years ago just the other day, and she was the one who really inspired me. She had Vogue magazines laying around the house, like it would, like you would walk around, it would be like piles of Vogue magazines, and I would look through them, and I was so inspired by the looks.
Yeah.
So I would get, like, that's where I got a lot of stuff that I, you know, I loved, that I would want to wear, that I want people to wear, that I wanted to wear, and I still have all those costumes. I do.
Where are they?
They're in a big, huge costume room in storage.
Your house? Oh,
those
storage.
are part are in my house, and then I have a warehouse.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any other? Well, I mean, it feels like you were in a perfect town with great siblings. I was gonna say, like, did you feel like you followed somebody's footsteps?
Yeah.
But you were like a perfect youngest.
Yeah,
right?
Jonathan is the youngest. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so there's
yeah.
somebody after you.
Yeah, Jonathan. Yeah.
But still,
A
2
couple of
boys
years,
and a girl. Yeah,
three boys,
Oh,
one girl.
3 boys, one
but
girl.
Steve is the one who I would say really was the one, like, you know, he would come home and he'd say, I just saw this show called The Rocky Horror Show, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it was just like, it was and it would explain it to me, and I was too young, but it would stick in my head. And he was the guy who walked through the Roxy and walked through and would like talk to the audience, and I just held on to that, you know. So there were a lot of different things that gave me, like I had no idea who the New York Dolls were, but I loved the name. So I just was like, I love the name Dolls, and I love the movie Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Ooh.
And I remember telling my brother, and he goes, just put all of it together. What about, you know, Pussycat and Dolls? And I said, what about Pussycat Dolls? You know,
So that's how it happened with those two things. Wow.
Yeah, and you know, and also one thing that a lot of people don't know is the play letters that are in the playground are actually Pussycat Doll letters. So they spelled out Pussycat Dolls.
Wow.
I knew that.
That's a fun fact.
I told
You
you
knew
that.
that?
You did. I know. Not a lot of
that.
people know. And the girls, if you look back, the girls would climb all on top of them.
I gotta look
And
back. Yeah.
and they would dance on top of them. So now we've recreated them to be in our other studios and the one in London, and it really became a thing, and it really helped blow up Playground. So,
it's
Yeah.
the thing that everybody looks for.
yeah, if
the
you say to
red
somebody,
letters.
do you know that studio says play in red letters?
Yeah.
They go, oh yeah,
Absolutely, it's
Yeah.
such a brand.
But that too, we are, we know Kenny. We're friends.
Of course,
with
yeah.
You and him at
Yeah.
the same time,
Yeah.
and we've spent time in the studio. I also know some other people in the studio. I used to stop by just to
I
kick it,
remember-
just to kick it. I
remember.
was like, "Do you guys need help with construction?"
Yeah,
we kept breaking down the
All
walls.
the guys were like up in the ceiling. I mean, I have pictures of me. I was actually in a hard hat.
I love that for you.
And a
That's
hammer. And I was trying so hard. I was getting like my elbows. Like, oh my God.
You're
I'm gonna go. I'm
tiny.
gonna- yeah.
I mean everything about that, and this is flowers where it's due. We are in dance industry, and one of the things that I'm enjoying about this interview the most is that people don't know, but Peta had this burlesque show idea ever for the longest time, but she's
Really?
not the time to like talk about things, and she's not
Oh
the
my
type
God.
to go after
But
that
it's
type
something
of
that you
stuff.
are so you love.
I wanted to see like because everything that she's asking, she's like, wait a minute, this is great, this is amazing.
Well, I always
wanted to-
felt
But when I
Sorry,
see
I
you
wanted to ask a
dance, it
question.
makes me go, God, that in a burlesque show is those two together, and now
Yeah.
now producing the burlesque, the
Musical.
theater, the musical in the UK with my brother. It's like it's almost like it needs that force too, because dancing with that style is so outrageous. You know what I mean?
We had, I met Peta on the show, Burn the Floor,
Yeah.
and had seen some stuff, and she's she's done things when it was 2018 tour, Max Val and Peta MVP
Yeah.
tour. She also had a moment that just turned burlesque. It's fascinating. It's interesting to see some people just inclined in that direction. I could see, and this is just me saying because I'm proud husband, but I could see
Yeah.
you develop this now that you see
I
that that's
agree.
how it came to be.
I
to be.
agree. No, I know.
I mean,
because
put it out there, babe.
Well, we said
Put it out
she's going to come to my class, and I'm going to give her
Yeah.
what I
That's
do.
all it
But
is,
I need to know what you do, because here's the thing: I can dance, right? I'm flexible. I got it all. I do it all. I take all the hip
by
hop
the way,
classes.
still, I'm saying now.
I
just
know,
say
after-
Yeah.
I never
still
stopped dancing.
Dance. There you go.
Right? And I mean, this is why I haven't had kids,
look
but
insane.
I really keep my body together. Dance.
You do. You look
as we
after
all
yourself.
know,
Yeah.
Dance makes your body so good.
I also never had kids.
The
Trying
best
to keep
bodies.
myself
Right?
as
No,
much as I can.
But you know what? It's because of how hard you dance that's how you stay in such good shape. It's like,
It's true.
I just make myself. I'm like, if I'm not teaching, I am in every class, all the classes. People and everybody in class is like, oh my God, Robin's in here. I'm like, yeah, I do. That's what I do. Like if I didn't dance, I don't know what I would do. But what the thing is, what I don't do is I'm not a ballroom dancer. So here's the part where I want to say I have to be on Dancing with the Stars as a contestant.
You do.
You have to do it.
I said that to
Like,
Max
I know.
already. You have to do it. I
Right?
don't know
Because
why
I'm
this
not
hasn't
a ballroom
happened.
dancer. I've never
but
trained, and
you have to do
and
it.
it's so hard. When I took the class, I was like, oh my God, this is like
It's so
this is like
good.
literally like I'm in kindergarten. Like I had no clue what I was doing.
Can you dance with Max? Can we make this happen?
Can
For
we?
what?
Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. Come on, she's perfect height. You'd be able to throw her around
This
like
is-
a little
this is-
rag doll.
I'm really
Maybe too
small.
perfect. It's maybe
Yeah.
too perfect.
We should
Yeah.
make this happen. I'm
We
going to make
should.
some calls after
Yes,
this.
do it. Oh my God! It literally is.
Peter has connect.
It's at the top of my list and has
Is it
been.
really?
It's been. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic. It's been like on the top of my list for I'd say since you started. Because
Really?
I was like, that's something that I can't do. That when I took the class, I was like, it's so nice to be able to take something that you've never done. Like you know what I mean? Like I also, like, I'm not a tapper. I can do the time step, but like to learn something, right? As opposed to going into a ballet class or a hip hop class or a heels class. It's like, you know, all that stuff, you right away you go, okay, I can do that. I can go anywhere in the world and I can do that. But to take a ballroom class is like,
Robin, I honestly,
foreign beyond.
It's foreign,
and it's fun to watch someone like me where they go, "Oh, this isn't fair," and then they go, "Oh, shit, wait a second."
but it's also so reward. I honestly, in all honesty, I wasn't prepared for the question or this line of conversation. But I wish for you, Dancing with the Stars participation, for you, because
really
we haven't had
bad.
someone who's.
I would be so passionate.
You need to get your manager, agent,
done
I know.
so
to
much.
contact them. Number one. I mean,
and I have such a good.
Peter got it. She'll
I have a
put in
good
the word.
story. I really have a good. I have a good story.
Amazing story.
Yeah.
You made Dancing with the Stars champions.
yeah. Hello, Nicole. Hello.
I did.
Did anybody else do it?
Well, Kim did it, but didn't she?
What was it like, by the way?
Right, Kim did it. Kim Kardashian.
Oh yes,
Yep.
yes.
And Rob.
Kim did it. Yep.
Rob. And a few of them called me and said, "Can you help me?" And I was like, "Okay," on the side.
I love it.
I love a little on the side training.
On the side, because I had a dance studio in my backyard for a moment.
So you became that go-to at some point.
Oh yeah, I was the one that would just be like, "What are they teaching you?" And then here's what I would give you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, hold. Like I know how to like not, to be like this. You know what I mean? Like you got it just from ballet. So
did you help Kim a little bit?
I helped her.
She was hard to help. To be honest.
I mean, Kim was in the Pussycat Dolls, and she was she was a bathtub girl, and then she was also an MC. She was great as MC, and I have to say, I was on the first show ever of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I was on the pilot teaching Kylie how to dance on a stripper pole.
Oh my gosh.
That was me and Kim.
I remember that scene.
When Bruce walked in and said, "What are you doing to my daughter?" And I said, "I'm teaching her how to be a Pussycat doll." Yeah. That's me.
I just keep forgetting that Kim, I'm thinking of the singing group Pussycat Dolls, not the actual stage show.
I became friends with Kim way before the show. She lived right down the street from me. We used to hang out. That's how I met Paris Hilton. That's how I met. I mean, I'm friends. Just even recently, like we have our show on Hulu, streaming on Hulu, Playground LA, and
yes,
we're waiting to get picked up
Plug.
by season 2. Come on, Hulu.
Come on,
Hulu. How was it? Talk about that.
You know what? I gotta say, it was really good. It was actually really healthy. A really healthy, good thing for Kenny and myself, because we have as business partners, there's a lot of things that are like sort of like I want this, and kind of like, you know what I mean? It's not like we fight, but it's sort of like, we are very controlling about like keeping it, really like solid, and having the best teachers and having the best employees and the best interns, and having everybody have the best dynamic and get along. And so, and also there was the back room.
Right.
That had these. So my brother and Brad, who's our maintenance sort of like kind of man. Brad.
Of course.
Yeah.
Brad.
Love Brad.
Yeah. Brad's like everyone's
such a
like,
vibe.
everyone's like, I know your brother Brad. I'm like, he's actually not my brother.
yes.
Right.
Everybody thinks he's related.
No, Brad's amazing, and so. They built these stairs that were so dangerous. You literally would have to creep up on them like on one toe to get up onto the loft,
oh
right?
My gosh.
That Kenny and I built also. We built the loft, and we took over a store that was the craziest, like it was the craziest store you've ever seen, that we turned into the dance studio, and then we did it next door.
Yeah.
So when we did the show, they said, "Okay, what's your thing that you always sort of fight about?" And I said that I want to change the staircase. I want to change all this. I want to change that. And Kenny's like, "It's too expensive. We can't do it. Just leave it. No one cares."
Yeah.
I'm like, "But I care." Right. And
sounds like us.
Yeah. No.
Look, you gotta have something to fight about.
We're like a married couple, but business. You know what I mean? It's like, and so. In the show, we got to do it. And Kenny walked in and we didn't tell Kenny. And Kenny opened the door and was like,
yes, what a perfect reality
oh
TV
my God.
moment.
He was like, what the f-? He's like, how did you get this done? I go, just don't worry about it. He goes, I am worried about it.
That's right.
And what's great about it is that it was so real. Like, they let us really be real on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I am really, really hoping for a season 2. I mean,
I'm sure you'll get it.
If we, we'll have to go somewhere else, I guess, if they don't get it. But anyway, so that was a great thing. I mean, it's still, it's a great show. You should watch it. You'll have fun. Now, now
we need to start watching. Yeah, we need to watch.
Now that
have you seen anything?
I only watch Love Island
clips.
because she loves she
Love
sits
Island.
me in front of that.
We have a little.
She just does
if
Love
there's
Island.
a little Love Island in the show.
Well,
yeah?
I mean, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure there's a
there's
big Love Island in
relationships.
the
Oh
show.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, there's a little of that. There's a lot of great dancing. A lot of the realness with all of us together and all of our dynamics and people saying things sometimes where I'm just like, they didn't say that. I cannot believe it.
I like that it's like not completely scripted either, because we've all been a part of those shows where it's just like, say this, say that, now you're going to walk over here. But that's half the reason why we've been approached, so many times from so many different people for a reality show with like family stuff, and it's just it's so hard. It's like, what are you going to fight about? What
how much,
what arguments,
how much
like, what
shit
are you
talk about, and about who?
like,
Who can you talk about?
They tried to get my family to, this is a long time ago, to do one, and we did a pilot, and it honestly, my brothers they fought so much that it like almost ruined our whole family dynamic.
Exactly.
That we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just too.
It's too much.
Yeah. In the studio, it's different. I think because, well, I don't know. It's just maybe it was the way it was produced, and having Hulu behind it, and just having everybody behind it, it was sort of, it just had a different dynamic to it.
Yeah.
And they really made it a beautiful looking show.
Amazing.
It's shot really well, which is important. You know what I mean? It doesn't look tacky. It looks,
No, I mean, I saw clips. I saw definitely, because I follow all you guys and the brand and your studio itself, and we all support it. That's another thing. We support the brand. We love Kenny. We love the playground. Val and Jenna there all the time.
It was so funny with Kenny.
We have
too.
no affiliation.
I want to be there
to
too.
anyone
I've
in
just
the
been
city,
pregnant for 3 years or something. I need
Peter's been pregnant for
need to stop getting pregnant, and then I can come back.
I remember like Kenny, because I've known Kenny was a sailor boy. So Kenny actually lit Scarlett Johansson's cigarette when she was she was sitting on
She's so hot.
on the stage saying like, hello, she was like, welcome to my, she goes, I love a man in a uniform, supporting my country. My brother Steve wrote that. That's my brother. That is not me. That is my brother Steve.
That's the British part.
Yeah.
That's the British side
that's the
coming
British
out.
part,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's her Australian.
But I remember. I've known Kenny for so many years, and he's done so much. Obviously, Footloose and Justin Timberlake and everything he's done. And I remember calling him one day, and Lauren was with me, his wife. They had just gotten married, and it was right then. I remember saying, "Do you wanna be my business partner on this dance studio?" And he was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay." I mean, it was that easy.
That's
Kenny was
awesome.
so easy. He just came down. He
And
looked at it.
you had a long lasting relationship. You've done stuff before. You've hired him, but you've only had a relationship. What is it like now, all these years later? We all, we have businesses. We're business partners with family.
Yes.
With close best friends.
Yes.
And sometimes it doesn't work, and it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, it's fantastic drama.
Yes.
The biggest drama of your life is when you fight with people you love the most.
I mean, it's on the show. You will see that on the show, and that's why I was saying it was healthy, because when we fought after, we would high five, hug each other, and go, "We got to do it on the show."
We got to
actually do it.
Some therapy.
And I'm not saying it was therapy. I'm not saying that we haven't had our ups and downs, because we have. But what's good about his personality and mine is that we always come around, and we always go, you know what? At the end of the day, we want the same thing.
Yeah.
We are, our goal is the same exact goal. It's not like you want someone better and I want someone worse, or vice versa. We want the same thing, and we want all of our studios to do extremely well. So knowing that, and knowing that, we I'm running Playground LA, he's running London. It's like, we're just, there's so much going on, but we work it out, and he's just, Kenny's a good guy, you know what I mean? So he's just like, hey, he always has a good attitude. And so we don't.
It's the Boston. It's him and
he's a Boston
Nick
guy.
Bagger,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
They're good guys.
So sweet.
And so it really, it was a weird, like, if back then, I mean, I wouldn't have ever thought that Kenny Wormold was going to be my business partner ever. And it just worked. Like it worked. It wasn't planned.
But it's also a lot of respect, good communication. I mean,
because of the and he's learned so much. The amount of work that he does to keep. He's running that studio and our studios. The amount of work that I'm doing and what I bring to the table, we're both bringing so much to the table that people are coming to see us, and they're really coming because they know that we have people like you and people like all of our teachers teaching the best classes, the most advanced, the most intermediate, the most beginner. And beginner. Right. I even called my class a triple beginner one day.
That's what I need.
Yeah. But everybody, look at, everyone in the world wants to dance. And I remember Ricky Lake saying this after she did your show. And I remember her saying to me, Robin, I get it now. Like I have like the blues. Like I'm so down because I don't get to dance anymore.
So true.
And that's
they all say that.
Everyone says that
when they finish.
Like,
they have
crying because I've been like I got to dance.
They have withdrawals. Absolutely.
It's
a high for 3 months, and then it's done and it's taken away, and they go back to their jobs and their families and stuff like that, and regular, normal, everyday life.
Exactly.
And it hits them so hard.
It does.
Even my male partners text me and they're like, I freaking miss doing the cha-cha. And I'm like, yeah.
I know.
It's so good.
It's just like you just get so attached. You know what I mean? And it becomes a part of your soul.
It does.
And then you want it. That's why I love when I'm feeling anything. I mean, even when my mom passed, it was so hard for me. Like when my dog passed, or whenever it's just sort of something that's really heavy. Class.
Yep.
It's like class takes your mind and just kind of gives you that, like, it's like a spiritual thing. That
I feel like, so we're in the business of teaching dance to adults since 2006. Val, myself, my dad, and through Dance With Me. That's our brand. That's our chain and all that. And so that's what we're doing. We introducing dance to people who, have lived a life, have experienced the ups and downs. And so to them, there has to be an explanation. It's not a class, like you sit down, pen and paper, like that, or you are in a group of people and you feel intimidated and all this. So we always have to explain, like, this means come and be part of what everyone else is, just like you.
That's what I always say.
Levels aside, everyone's doing the same thing.
And also in a class, especially or advanced, everyone's looking at themselves. And I don't mean that to be like in
it's
any
like no
way.
one's looking at you.
No,
Everyone's
everyone wants to know that they're
thing.
getting it perfect. They're watching the teacher, of course, and maybe they're watching someone that they're inspired by, but for the most part, you don't have to feel intimidated. There is no judgment ever. And that is, I think, the biggest thing that we do, because I think growing up, when I was, on scholarships, there might have been a little bit of judgment of sort of like, well, maybe you're not turned out enough, or you're not, you know what I mean? Or you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. Because I'd go to like Stanley Holden, like a really major ballet school, where like I'm not a ballerina, but in my mind I am. So I would stand like a ballerina. I would wear every single thing you could imagine. And that's what gave me the confidence to go, oh, I can, I still walk around my house in my point shoes.
I do. Now?
No, I do.
When did you whip out point shoes last?
I haven't whipped out point shoes since I was 16.
You know why?
You
Because
should whip out some points.
you know why? I'm telling you, because when you go up on your point,
I
go
don't
up
think
and down,
I
up
could
and down,
do
first
that
releve,
now.
releve, and then you just kind of walk around. It's so good for your ankles, for your calves, for
I
your
would
feet.
break my foot right
No,
now.
but first you start just holding on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like it's helped me
is so
so
hard.
much.
I mean,
It's
I need to get back to a
So
lot of
hard.
stuff, but, you know, walking in point shoes would be, I mean, you got beautiful legs and feet.
I'm just gonna stretch right
Stretch,
here.
stretch it
I
out,
just need to
stretch
get
it
it
out. I still have I think it was my very first point shoes I kept.
Yeah.
I've still got them
Yeah,
here.
mine too.
But
And
I
they
went up
break.
on, yeah, you got to break them in, you know.
they're broken and everything, but
Yeah.
That's
but
so cool.
there's something about that after you feel like it's that, you know what, it's those muscles that you sometimes you don't get.
Yep.
I mean, you guys have the best bodies ever because
They're aching.
I know.
They're aching.
They're unfit right now.
I know.
Well, first, I feel fit. I feel fit. I don't
Yeah.
know
But
how
are
I
you
look
dance
to
fit?
people.
Are you?
Am I
dance
tour
like
fit or
crazy.
am I dance fit? Those are two different things. I am dance fit.
You
I
are.
can get up and damn
Bust
it,
a
I
move?
can lunge, and you know,
It's no.
I got this.
it's
because I'm on it. I'm functional mobility
I
4 times a
know.
week. I'm in it.
You're in it.
Yeah,
And
but tour, that's a different thing. That's a different fitness, and that's something that I try to always stay very close to. You can't be at your tour fit.
No. I
off
mean, that's
time.
impossible.
You have to have the off time
Like,
body.
That's true.
You
But
know.
I'm hovering in between. I'm always like, I want to be a little bit more ready because I'm always feeling like I'm of that age. And I've been doing that for like
But
10
then
years
you also
now.
don't want to be that dancer that goes, I used to be able to do that.
No.
No.
I never
No.
want to be that.
What
Yeah.
did you think about
Totally.
Brian Friedman, kicking it with Lady Gaga?
Like, it's like,
and talking about it like, hey, I don't know, what is he, 48? He said, I'm 48.
he had an injury
And
that he
he
got
had-
over. And the thing about Brian that makes so much sense to me that I really identify with is it's about the passion, and it's about the fact that you want to be as good as you have you always been.
Yeah.
And that's why he worked so hard. And those are the dancers that work so hard, that get in there, that go, you know what, my body can do this. As long as I keep doing it, it's muscle memory.
Absolutely.
My body's going to do it.
Yeah.
Like I can do.
For me, it's also been my sort of medical approach journey was about how I remember a while ago, not gonna name names, but someone who I was close with,
Yeah.
also dancer, older than me, and kept saying, hey, but listen, wait till you're my age. And I remember being mid-20s, wait till my age.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Now you're-
their age in my early 30s, wait till you're my age. Now I'm in their age in my late now I'm in I'm 45 years old.
Right.
By
you're
all
killing it.
stretch imagination, I've retired 3 times,
No, but you're killing it.
And
But
now I'm looking at those people. I'm like, you know who you are. You've been telling me this for a decade and a half, and
No.
I'm still here. And so I'm looking now at Brian Friedman. I'm looking at you,
yeah.
and I'm not saying
No, I know. I
looking
listen.
up.
I
I'm
know,
saying
but I'm
looking
not.
at. I'm just
I'm
saying.
dancing with 20-year-olds where I'm like, I'm doing the same thing that they're doing.
So
you know what I
good.
mean?
And you
Like,
don't mention
So
and
good.
they
age.
love dancing with me. They're like, come dance.
I don't mention
Of course.
age in the form of age. I mention age in the form of what I realize now age really is. And I guess old people say that. But
Yeah,
but
but-
I realize for me age is how much I know. My body is up to me, and as long as I can, I'll try to prove it.
Exactly.
So as long as I see you doing it,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Same.
I got this. I'm on my right track. As long
Right.
as I see Brian get
Brian
up and
do
he said
it.
it. When he said it, I remember reading this on Instagram. I'm like, you and Gaga dance. First of all, great. Second, I'm like, what? And then I'm thinking, is it selfish? Is it self-fulfilling? Is it this? And I'm like, no, dude, they just be inspired. And I've let myself just be inspired.
Yes.
This guy is of that age, on that level,
Doing
on that
that, doing
stage,
that.
in front, doing that.
And that's hard.
I may,
So
I may
hard.
love the
Just-
style. I may not understand it. It might not be my thing, but the physicality, you can't take it away.
Respect.
And the
Exactly.
respect that comes with he does this.
And he's
you
been
do
doing
it.
it. Brian and I have been working together for years, and I just watching him do his thing is like, oh my, I mean, he's never lost a beat.
And I get to teach with him now, and that's it. I just keep dropping this, like, you know, I get to travel. I got to experience the conventions now. I see the where your type comes from, that type of genres.
Yeah, like me and Ashley and Kim and all of the girls that do the stuff that I do. We all, you know, or even now at the studio, like Samantha Cottle and Marissa Hart. You know, she's a bends her body in half.
This is your
she's who I collaborate with on a lot of our classes.
Okay.
Her body is, I mean, she's a contortionist. She's a contortionist.
Amazing.
But when we dance together, it's amazing because we just form together and we have the same kind of like our shape.
Yep.
And we look so good together, and she's really gotten me to really use my flexibility. So it's just because I'm inspired.
I mean, the fact that you talk about body functionality.
Yeah.
Still sitting here right now after all those years, and it's, again, I just want to keep bringing this up. It's just it's, to me, I didn't know I was going to be that inspired, but I'm sitting here, I'm like,
inspired.
Damn it.
No, I'm telling you,
gotta get back.
It's a real thing, because this is another thing, like, it's not, we can't fake this. I remember watching I think Maya Plisetska's 75th birthday, and she got up and danced, and I thought about it, I'm like, nah, that's too much. That's too much, because you're not really
right.
You're just sort of moving around.
Sort of
And I'm like, is that healthy? And so now I'm still amazed and wow and everything, but it's not the same. I remember Baryshnikov dancing at a certain age, and I was like, damn it. I want to see you do the thing that you did. I want to see you
do the...
You know, and that's why it was important to me. Like, how do I stay relevant? Like, I've never done some. So for me, it's very important that I also have that little, like,
as opposed to being going, I know how to do that because I've been doing that. You do it as well as you've been doing it because you do it all the time. And the other thing I was going to say was, when I'm teaching, I dance every single time. I don't go 5, 6, 7. Okay, it goes 1, 2, and a 3, 4, and a 5. I do it with them
full out.
So I do it full out, and so in an hour and a half, I'm dancing the whole entire time because I know that I want to get it right, and I want to work out, and I want to feel like I'm in dancer shape.
Yep.
And you know, like, even like if I wake up and my knee hurts or something, I just go to dance class, and it's weird. Like, I don't want to say, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to say dance class fixes a knee injury, but
yeah,
but it does help. You know what I mean? Like, obviously having sprung floors, we don't really see a lot of injuries happening, and I think that's really important to dance on. But I do believe that, you know, there's so many, you know, you learn how to stretch your body and learn what you need to do to not get that bad injury. You know what I mean?
So now we're talking smart dancing.
Yes.
Now we talk, like, that's also science. That's also something people don't really understand.
Yes.
You know, the more we talk, the more I'm like, you also didn't. You have a so we all have a dance career.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's competitive, whether it's specific, whatever. Then we you made it, right? You, me, us.
Yeah.
No matter. Doesn't matter. At some point, you're like, okay, I can't dance forever. I'm good. That's a mentality of a dancer's life, right? So at some point it's pinnacle, and at that point you go, okay, what products am I going to do? What's my passive income going to come from?
Yeah.
I would say majority of career dancers at a certain point just move on. Whether into teaching, right?
Usually
whether
teaching,
into teaching,
open a studio,
or move on. You know, move on with life. Career change, even. You know, and so, you know, watching you had a successful brand. A lot of times when the dancer does have a career and did somehow do the right things and was lucky and also a hustler, and that brand has been created, they also just keep moving on with life. You know, that's enough success for me. You know, how do you stay at it, you know, with the Pussycat Dolls, and now
will there be another Pussycat Dolls?
another brand of
Yes,
the dance
there
studios. That's you. By the way, people may not know
need to
because
know.
it's not all Pussycat Dolls.
You might be one of them.
But you've done other brands. You've put out other projects.
Yes,
and
I've done
so
a lot of girl groups. And
where's that coming from? You as a career professional dancer in dance world, but also done other stuff. You're still in it.
I think it's because I, like when I see someone, say it's like Peter, it's like somebody that I go, wow, like you have all of this, like talent and beauty and all of this stuff that it's like I immediately am in my mind. I go, I want to make this person, I want to put this person in a group, or I want to make this, or whether it might be a solo thing, or if it has to do with music. I mean, some like this girl the other day, she was sort of like, I want to be an influencer and I want to do all of this different stuff on social media, but I need help because I want it to be all about dance. And so I've been helping her sort of like, what is it that's going to attract people to your type of dancing, because her style is so different than anyone else. And I just love helping. I really love creating and designing and not doing what everyone else is doing and not doing whatever you see everything on TikTok, and not I mean, I am inspired by K-pop. I do have to say, I mean, they did a great job, but I do have to say also that I think they were inspired by the Pussycat Dolls.
Yeah.
In the very beginning.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I remember seeing them rehearsing on, it was like on I don't know if it was like CNN or something, and they were like, this was years ago, and they said, there's this thing coming out called K-pop, and there's a group called Girls' Generation, and they were calling them like a factory, like it's just a constant girl in, girl out, girl in, girl out, and they were all rehearsing to the Pussycat Dolls, and I was like, there, you know what I mean?
Here
like
we go.
It was something that I just always felt like I always had that thing, and that's why my brother brought me on to burlesque and brought me on especially to the costume part of it. I'm a creative consultant on the costumes, because I really know every detail of how the fit should be, the corsets and I take the corsets and I turn them around, and the stylists are like, what? You don't do that.
One of the hardest things on Dancing with the Stars for me was talk to my partners, my dance celebrity partners, whoever was at that time, about the first out, costume fitting, and talking to them about how important it is that they fit and custom fit underwear. And they're like, what? I'm like, trust me, please, just do that. Make sure you go through the process, because the last thing you want to be is in Latin dress and this comes and it rides up, and they're like,
and all they're thinking about is
science.
That.
It's science of how it contours but doesn't ride up. And people don't understand how much more goes into dancing than dancing. I
mean, I would sit in, and we were just doing previews in London just this last year before it is going to the West End. I would sit in the room and I would say, okay, they would put them in these costumes that I was like, let me think about this for a second. How do I say this? Okay, put your leg up. I literally would say, just put your leg all the way as far as you can get it. And if it feels uncomfortable and we can see anything, it's not right. It's not right.
Yeah,
by the way, the leg up. You keep saying this.
I know. I'm all about the leg up. Everybody knows that about me. If you look at my Instagram, every time,
it's a moment.
Everything I'm going like this. Yeah.
I would say that people listening again, or Pussycat Dolls will come back into their mind. They would know. They would remember very vividly two things, in my opinion, is Nicole in the front and the girl that does the leg.
And the girl that does, I know.
Those are the two biggest things.
I remember telling Kimberly, she had long hair, and I remember saying, let's cut your hair and kind of create like a mohawk sort of punk rock girl, because my mom was British, and I went to London a lot, and I was like running around King's Road and just going to all the vintage stores. and Vivienne Westwood and all of the different designers, and I just knew, I was like, Kim, you have that in your body. Now let's put that on your body, and now let's do that to your hair. And she was like, I'm never cutting my hair like that. And I'm like, trust me, you will be the star of the show. And when she came out and we opened for Britney and we sold out as an opener, and
wow.
she came out, the crowd went wild because of her look. And then she did that, and it was like, oh my God, I've never seen. And you know, I'm one of these that, like, we had the show in Vegas. I brought Pussycat Dolls to Vegas, and I got, you know, I had like 10 girls in the show, and I would do like a domino, boom, 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 boom. You know,
it's
and
like the new age.
Yeah, like it was just like, it's like, again, it's eye candy, and it's so, you watch it and you go, you know, I always feel like the girls want to be Pussycat Dolls, the guys want to be with the Pussycat Dolls, or
that's true.
Vice versa.
Right? I remember
These,
seeing all the big posters and advertising, you know, in the casino.
Yeah,
I was. I don't know why. Maybe I was there for Burn the Floor.
Probably
could have been, yeah.
The station there.
But
I think
I remember seeing it
I
and
think
just
we were
going,
there at the same time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's literally one of my dreams.
Yeah.
You know, apart from like I did my ballroom dancing stuff. You know, I never wanted to be just a ballerina. I wanted to do something extra. My
God,
hands
if
were...
I knew you, you would have been in the champagne glass that came out from under.
You
know,
just
we dug down the floor. we dug in the floor, and I was like, "This is Vegas. We can do anything." And they were like, "We don't know if we can do that." I'm like, "Yes, we can. It's Vegas, and we're going to do it." And they dug down, and they had the champagne glass like coming up slowly, and I had everybody. I mean, Paris Hilton, everybody was in the champagne glass, and if I knew you, you would have been in the champagne glass.
I wish I could go back in time.
Yeah, and you didn't have to dance. You just had to just be like, da-dum, da-dum,
but it's funny, you know? Coming from like a ballet world, I mean, it's, you know what it's like.
I know.
You have to look exactly the same as the girl next to you until you become like a principal, prima ballerina, whatever you want to call it. And that's what my teachers would always say to me. They're like, you have to look the same, Peter. And your arms are too flouncy. Your fingers are going too much. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this.
Right. You have
and
your
so
own
I had my
style.
own flair thing going.
And I love that because I'm all about everyone looking completely different, but in unison, coming together and being the same. And that's what you saw, is that everyone was so tight and so together. Yeah. And that's from rehearsing so much and knowing what you're doing, and then knowing that the performance, it's all, you know, even in my class right now, I'm like, it's all about performance. It's all about just, you know, really feeling who you are. Like, what are you? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, we don't pretend to have done so much research that we're his historians of dance and entertainment and all that stuff.
But a lot.
But just like visually and understanding, and we've been around and all that. Yeah. I would say that, in my opinion, Pussycat Dolls were the first ones to really hone in on dance as why this would stand out. Outside, yes, the credit where it's due.
Thank you.
Nicole's vocals and all that stuff. But dance, for the first time, because what happened over the last 20-some years, and case in point from Dancing with the Stars onward, is I remember we were celebrating on American Music, I don't remember where, but we had a whole big opening dance number about for commemorating all the dance shows there on television. And then at some point, somebody like a Max and Val were able to have a tour, a national tour, where we were the stars. We weren't background dancer to a star singer.
You were the stars.
And so now we have these opportunities, and I believe that Pussycat Dolls were the first ones. Well, yes, there was vocal component, but they were professional dancers, and we were like, that's our people. We just flew back from New York. We were in Times Square, staying in Times Square because Shy loves it. And Tate McRae is all over.
I know.
All over.
I know.
And she is our ballerina. Yeah. You know, she's another like Mary Ziegler who have made it.
She's
a real deal.
Doing really good.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of being part of that wave and being at the.
And it's rare to be doing what she's doing and to be able to do what she's doing because,
right.
And that's what the Pussycat Dolls were. It's like they were able to do that and to be able to do, to really do it all, but also be the best version of yourself. Like Kim, again, Kim, Carmit, the other girls, they all have their thing. I just said, if you do your thing, what you're best at, you know what I mean? And maybe you're not the best singer, that's okay. Because you're going to be a star no matter what.
But isn't that such a simple advice? I mean, you and again, you simplified it to what's effective.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and the more I hear it, I know now that it was meant to be because of your very unique upbringing and your family and where you kind of, how you came to be and how you came to be a dancer. What city, what you what you were exposed to, what happened with LA over the last 20 some years after you had become a brand, moved on to bigger and better. Why nobody picked up? Why are there no more clubs?
I mean, there were
we had sayers.
Like real burlesque shows too. Like I was trying to find one the other day actually.
I know.
Maybe a couple months ago.
There are some attempts, I think, currently, recently.
There's attempts, but it's not good dancing.
I know.
It's just I hate to be that hater. I'm trying not to be a hater, but like I don't want to see like I want to see you doing something.
I know. And I see a lot of like they're doing exactly what they're just looking at and going, oh, let's just do that or let's do that, and it's okay. Like a lot of the time I respect maybe being them being inspired by stuff that I've done, and not that I created this whole entire thing, but I definitely pushed a movement forward and made something happen that was so unique and it was being inspired by so many different genres of music, of dance, of fashion, art, of style, of especially music. Growing up with so many amazing styles of music, punk rock, rock and roll, disco. Everything, what I mean? I think
you literally are the force behind the movement, though. It's not like, fusion. You are
a fusion of all of it, you know what I mean? And I mean, I used to go in there. This is funny because this is actually a tango.
Oh.
I went into with this this woman who was she was a violinist, but she could play piano, and she could she knew how to do beats. And I created a song that I just didn't even know what I was doing. But I was like, I just want a beat here. You know what I mean? And like, she made it. And I would just talk to her and talk her through it. And I had all the girls dancing together. So girls and girl on girl. And it wasn't like girl on girl. It was just it was a girly show, so all the girls danced together, and at the very end, because it was sexy, it was like and then they would turn around and take and just go and take off their top. And like all you saw was their back.
I love it.
And so that was like the sexual part, but it wasn't anything, but I was so inspired by even that style, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I had no.
Well, you weren't trying to turn this into striptease at any point.
No, never.
That's what people need to understand. We talk
not
about
a vulgar one, just
it was a tongue-in-cheek
classic.
Yeah, the stripping came from not having a changing room. So it'd be like, take off the dress,
I love that part.
And you have to swing it around. Then I did like a glass, so like a glass sound. So taking off the glove and throw it around and the glass. Taking another one on, it would be like a boom. And so I spent a lot of time, thinking about this, of how I wanted it to be, and thinking about and not throwing it together. And I think that's the difference between what you see in a lot of these burlesque shows. They're thrown together. They're just wearing lingerie. They're wearing like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basic lingerie. it just looks, a lot of it, you know, I'm
not much thought behind it.
I want to support all of them, but I know that it's such a thing. That's what my brother, you know, again, is like, you have to, I want you there, and I want you to be, you know, really like detailed on how you see this, you know, like when the costume designer comes in, who knows how to make a corset, you know,
right.
Can you help create that
Yeah.
fit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
not just a store-bought.
not just because
You
the
know.
store-bought ones are definitely very different, and they fit so different, and they stick out in a weird way, and they just don't fit your body right, and then you can't move in them.
Yep.
And I dance in mine all the time, you know.
All right. So now and you know, we can. This has been amazing, by the way. I picked up a lot
it's
of
been
stuff.
fun. We could talk
But
about
I-
things,
but I wanna
and
know-
you guys have brought your world to us, which is like,
Listen,
man.
we want to do so much
we're the
more.
lucky ones.
Just
it's just so amazing.
We're the lucky ones. I feel like the ballroom world gave the foundation for like, oh, we can. So dance can be that,
Yeah.
and we can
And you can-
functionally, you know, position
you
it.
can
You know that
use
in
it into something.
Eastern Europe, by the way, Dancing with the Stars at some point wasn't as popular as like skating with celebrities or
Right.
whatever it's called, right? So there was a version of that came to US. It didn't work because it was horrible. Somebody fell down, cracked their head open. Whereas in Eastern Europe, you have countries that, like, you know, it's part of culture. You know, it's always cold and freezing and all that.
Did you
So-
start? I just want to ask you, like I'm interviewing you, but did you start
Go.
dancing your style at a very early age? Like, did you?
no, I did not. I did classical ballet in a Russian school up until I was 16, and then I had an ankle injury. Decided with my fingers and everything
Yeah.
that they told me, I was like, this ain't for me anymore. I love it, but I'm not inspired. Truly, like, after I had my surgery on my ankle, I came back to class and I was never the same girl again. And so this is my story quickly
Yeah.
before yours.
Yeah.
I went to like the local town hall, and I saw there was like a salsa pamphlet there, and I was like, oh, I'll grab that.
I love it.
Mum, I want to start salsa. I'll do it on Thursday nights. There
This
was
is in
just
Australia?
Yeah, there was just elderly men there, but I would dance with them. And the teacher was like,
Didn't you
hold on a
at
second.
that time had transitioned and tried to become like a secretary for something? You moved on. Like, that's the point. Is
Oh
that
my God.
Well, no, that was
okay,
after.
sorry, that was after.
But yeah, so I just started doing these like once a week classes, and the teacher was like, hold on a second, like, because I had all of that ballet training.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, since I was
You
4
were
years old.
a
So I
major
was true ballerina. He was like, you
My
need to be doing
inspiration.
this. Like,
Yeah.
you need to like do something
Yeah.
else. And I was like, well, I don't know. What am I going to do? He's like,
Yeah.
well, let's find you a partner, you know, and then you got to really start training. And I'm like, okay. And then the Australian champion came over and had an audition with me. And I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know who he is. And he's like, can you just walk for me? And I'm like, what do you mean walk? And he's like, can you do some rumba walks? Put a book on my head, gave me 2 coffees to hold, you know, some
Stupid
crazy
ballroom
shit.
stuff.
And I trained for 8 hours with him every single day. He was turning me into a ballroom dancer because
You know?
How old were you?
I was 17.
17.
17.
And just for people
Yeah.
to know, then
When I started.
shortly
That's wild.
after that, she goes to British Open, and she's in top 3.
I don't know how
Shortly
I did
after
that. It's the
in
World
under-
Championships, and I
in
got
your
3rd.
body.
in under 21 Latin American rhythm. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I don't
Latin.
I don't know what
division.
happened.
She came out, and you know who was number 1 at that time? The little Valentin Chmerkovsky.
Val
So
was
on
number
that-
1.
Number 1 at that.
I was
Blackpool,
number
that
3.
British Open, the
No.
pinnacle of ballroom Latin world. She was number 3. We remember
After
'cause-
training for 6 weeks
and just
with my
coming-
partner. He was
What?
like, do you want to do the British Open? This was a new partner, by the way. I
Yeah.
moved on from that first guy. And I was like, sure, why not? We're on Burn the Floor together, you know, stage show. We're just, you know, doing our dance thing. He's like, why don't we just train with Jason Gilkison for 6 weeks and see what happens? And I'm like,
And she came
Let's
in
do
top 3. We were
It was
we were
amazing.
shocked,
It was
but,
incredible.
you know, Val, and you know, I'm his coach at that time. He's a career professional. He's a dancer.
And-
a
And you're
competitive
measuring-
dancer.
Yeah, we're in Brooklyn. We're in New York.
Oh, you're in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, we're New York City, Jersey,
Okay,
Tri-State
okay.
area, whatever. We represent East Coast. So
Okay.
so we're representing America. We're flying in to win this thing. You know, I'm coaching this kid, this Australian couple.
I'm flying in just to see how it goes.
No one has ever heard of. No one has heard of her ever. She is an unknown. Who's that chick? Nobody knows. She's from somewhere.
People actually told me. They said, no, it was Karen Hardy, who was like
one of
the top
pros,
world champions ever of all time. She said to me in a lesson, do never tell anybody when you started this dance form. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because nobody will believe you and they'll mark you down for it.
Yes.
Never tell them that you started 2 years ago or whatever.
Talk about how stupid our world is and how judgmental
yeah. So I was like,
it wasn't even about her dancing.
with me.
It was about
how amazing now to hear that and go, how great are you? And
it was all ballet coming into play, and I knew how to pick up choreography, but it was definitely a new dance style.
So different.
So different. I had to walk in a straight line, not with no turnout. Yeah. No turnout back in those days. Now they encourage a little bit of turnout and stuff like that. But back when I started, it was you were on 2 train tracks moving like this, and it was very hard for me.
You're moving your legs and everything in such a different way.
Yeah.
But again, we're coming around
so different.
She should do the show for sure. You should do the show.
I
had a question for you about what's beyond.
We're texting in a few minutes.
What beyond choreography and entertainment? What are your passions? Beyond dance and all that stuff. And I think Dancing with the Stars is in your future somehow. But aside of that, what do
you like to do? During the day when you're not
you have sugar.
I have sugar. She's my angel. She's just like she's the true emotional support, like yours.
Yeah.
The fact that he's with you this entire time, he's not with us.
He's sitting next to me.
He would have been sitting right here.
Protecting me. I always feel
he knows you're a lover.
I feel like they're protecting. They're always protecting. They say when they lay at the bottom of your feet.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, sugar, come in and lay on top of me or next to me, and she starts to, and then she moves down to my feet, and I'm like, but then I heard that it's a protective thing, and then she now has found a spot right near the door, and she likes to lay right in between, so you have to walk over her, and you gotta the whole.
Of course.
You'll meet her. She's the greatest dog.
Aww.
She's so funny. She has this. I taught her how to sit jump as opposed to jump.
Oh.
So she's sitting and she just goes 1 leg, 2 leg, like 1 paw, 2 paw, and then she's like looks at you like I'll send you pictures. She's just this.
Aren't we nuts?
I love it.
We're nuts. We're insane. I never wanted a dog. I told her she's insane.
He's like, you're making a big mistake bringing this puppy home, and I'm like, no, baby. I love him.
He is my son. He's my son. My mom thinks I'm insane.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't even say it about it.
Because sometimes you get a dog every now
and again
where they're running around and you have to lock them out and you have to.
Yeah.
You're like, why did I do that to myself?
I hate to say that, but I mean, sometimes if you're doing something where you need a noise thing. But look at this. I mean,
I know.
He's
a doll.
So I'm a dog lover. I'm an animal lover. I love horses. I'd love to own a ranch one day and have a lot of horses that I can just take care of and clean them, and I've owned horses before that I rode, and then I got to a point where I didn't have an accident, but we were riding, we were up Beechwood, and he laid down.
Beechwood is I know where Beechwood
is. That's where Shauna used to live.
Yeah.
Beechwood.
Okay.
So there were horses up there, and I owned one, and I leased one because they were just the owners wanted to just lease him. And he was just a great horse. I would just jump on him. I just had no fear. But he just stopped and he got spooked and he lay down, and he was a gigantic thoroughbred. And it scared me because my leg was underneath his body.
Ooh.
And so I got myself out and I was able to hold on to him, and he was gentle. He didn't run away or anything. And after that, I got nervous about hurting myself. And so I kept both of my horses for a while, and it's an expensive sport.
I can imagine.
I would go there every day and clean their feet, clean their hooves. Like
I have a friend who's also crazy about horses.
A pet. They were just my pets, and I'd wash them down. And one was at the Equestrian Center in Burbank, one was at Beechwood, and so I still have this, like, my mom and my dad's an artist. My dad's an amazing sketch artist and would sketch. I have horses all over my house of beautiful, like those, like the fish.
Oh wow!
But
big
horse heads.
Wow.
Yeah, like horses, and they love dogs, and we've all had golden retrievers, all of us, our whole lives, and but I love creating. Yeah. I just love, like, we made a room that's not much bigger than this in the back. I don't know if you saw it. To show you the pink room?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's called the pink room.
The pink room, yeah.
And what I'm doing in there right now is just trying things out. I'm friends, like I said, one of my best friends is Chris Applebaum. If you follow Eats channel.
Okay.
I don't know.
Eats channel.
It's called Eats and then dot channel.
Okay.
And just see sort of the way that it's like the burger, the Carl's Jr.
Okay.
The lick, the whole thing. But he's the way, the music that he picks, and the way, and the skin and the gloss. He would probably love to shoot you. He loves to shoot just beauty. He's all about beauty, but all the girls they're all wearing lingerie and all that, and but
what's after burlesque? Like you're in burlesque.
I was going to say, what's next?
What I'm doing with him and with other people is I'm putting together all different types of groups. So, like, all different ethnicities, different styles, different vibes, because I am, I love that's just what I love doing, and I get so much out of it. It's creating and building and growing and saying, okay, you go here, you do this, and seeing what works in that little room has given me an opportunity to kind of recreate, even though I'm still holding on to wanting to do the reunion with the Pussycat Dolls.
Okay.
Nicole.
That was a question. That was my one of my final questions.
Yeah.
When is that? I mean, listen, I also just want to, in wrapping this up, it was like, so what I heard is that it felt to me like I was thinking about Pussycat Dolls this entire time. Obviously very familiar, very much part of our, generation, culture, upbringing, and all that. Influence, everything. And then again, she's on Dancing with the Stars. By the way, in the season when I I just met my partner.
Was that Erin?
She's Erin Andrews. And I'm like, I
remember.
am taking this down. I'm winning this. This is my season.
My God.
I'm winning this. We're practicing, we're rehearsing.
I saw Erin. I was like, who is this supermodel walking in? I'm like, wow.
At that time, we were kind of like keeping it to ourselves, and then bam. Oh, by the way, Evan Lysichik is also on Dancing with the Stars on that show. He just wins figure skating Olympics, right?
Wow.
And I'm like,
incredible.
Damn it. But maybe, I don't know, maybe. And then they're like, oh, and there got Nicole Scherzinger. I'm like,
oh, God.
It's over.
I am never winning this show. I mean, all haha aside, it was damn it. And then they go, and then we're still holding on to the hope that maybe she's just such a horrible personality.
Yeah.
And she's going to be so unlikable.
Right.
And they're going to, you know what? They're never going to be able to work together. Dude, they go on to put out
they became
some of the
friends.
most legendary dances.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's just something to look back and be like, wow, so it was a cultural thing. I feel like seeing Nicole now on Broadway getting her flowers for being the singer that she is.
She's showing
is
who
finally
she is,
like,
and she's stripped away. Like, she's stripped everything away. She's just it's just her. She's not in corset. She's not in all the stuff.
Is this a musical? Because I walked past it the other day, but
it's called Sunset Boulevard.
Right, but
she won an Olivier, which is like a Tony in the UK. Then it went to Broadway, now I think she's going to win a Tony because I saw the show and she is unbelievable.
What is it about? What is
it's crazy because it's sort of in a way like, she kind of tells it, and I wouldn't want to say it all for her, but it's about a woman who is trying to kind of come back and be this star, and and not that Nicole is trying to come back because she's always been a star,
of course,
but you could see where she can get attached. She can attach personal. And really
because she did so much.
Yeah,
and then she sort of was trying to find her way, and she was doing her stuff, and then this came up, and she said to me something really funny. She said, when Andrew Lloyd Webber said to her, Nicole, I see you in this role. This is the role of a lifetime. And I mean, it was the role of a lifetime. It was a big, massive, film that, was, had been on Broadway for quite a while. And when he said, I see you doing this, this is you, this is going to be your moment. You get to sing your off. You get to just, and she created the character into her own character that's not like anyone I don't think anyone expected to see.
Wow.
I'll just leave there so you
I know,
can see it.
We gotta go
saw
see it.
a lot of that, a lot of clips,
But
and
she
that's
said-
what I picked up too. I think it's her, calling card, just like Pussycat Dolls was, and it may be the first time since Pussycat Dolls
Yes.
where she's like perfectly in her spot.
But she said to him, Andrew, she's so funny. She goes, babe, I'm not, that character. I'm a pussycat doll. And I was laughing because I'm like, that's hilarious because, she's always going to think of herself as a pussycat doll, and she's always going to own that. And so wherever she decides to go with that is where she goes.
She does. I love that she doesn't have any kind of ill, you know what I mean? She could be like, no, don't, I'm not thinking.
No,
that's my past. I don't want to talk about it.
This is what I believe. I think that because she loves to perform live, and I think that after this, that, choosing something that's going to be just as massive, that's going to be just as that's not going to be like a hopeful win, or is it going to be the biggest thing of all time, or maybe not, you know what I mean? You never know. Going back into, because this is the 20-year reunion, 20 year of Pussycat Dolls group. So
going into 2026.
It would if she ended by the end of the year, at least we could announce it. But I'm just saying, it's just me saying it. I'm not saying that she said she's going to do it. I'm not saying that
we're putting it out there.
I'm just putting it out there that
Yep.
that it would be
I'll put it out there louder. I'll put it out there because you have I'm just thinking about this. You have the New Kids on the Block. You have the Backstreet Boys touring nonstop.
Yes, they're always going around.
You would have had. They have joint ventures where they go on cruise ships, and we know that because the production company behind them are always also our friends. So we've seen them tour nonstop. You would have had NSYNC touring nonstop if Homeboy wasn't a solo act.
Exactly.
So you have what is it? I mean, Pussycat Dolls coming back together for a special, a one-off, a two, whatever it may be.
We only did 2 albums, and it's sort of like the fans started calling it unfinished business, which in a way
should
is
be an
good.
album.
That
It
should
sort
be
of
an album.
like one more time around the block. Let's go. You know what I mean? And all you girls, we did get it together in 2020. The girls were in their 40s. They looked phenomenal. We went and we did the UK. We did, if you have to Google it, UK X Factor
performance.
Write it down.
I will definitely
UK
look it up.
X Factor performance, Pussycat Dolls.
Write that down.
You will be blown away. You'll be shocked. It was one of the greatest performances of all time. I remember coming back from England and people were like mind blown how great it was. And it was the year of COVID. COVID shut it down, and we had sold million. I mean, it was crazy. We had
That's
sold
so
all
disappointing.
The tickets.
That was us too.
You know what else?
That was
happened?
our tour.
Right before the week two. No, I think we're like 3 days before the announcement of COVID shutting us down. We were on GMA. Maks, Val, Peta, Jenna
announcing our family
a brand
tour.
new 2020 national tour.
And were you like, what?
Themed.
No.
We were like, that'll never happen.
Yeah,
They're not going to shut the country down. That's bollocks,
but
you
at
know.
the same
And
time, we were like, it doesn't feel
and
right.
they're like,
promoting
get
it.
on a plane and get home.
yeah, we stopped the rest of promotion and just
It
went
was
home.
crazy. Oh, what a
And
sad,
then
sad moment.
But everyone
but
has a story.
2026 is when it's all
Is
gonna
the
happen.
year, and
year.
you know, and besides that, I mean, you know, I do have dreams of creating. Like I said, I'm really inspired by K-pop and maybe doing something with them and collaborating with them because they have a machine that is so spectacular between, you know, the boy groups and the girl groups and everything. And I feel like bringing what I bring to them, what they bring to me, could be something amazing. I have a million ideas of what is the next step. But I you know, I have also talked about creating my own podcast to talk about sort of like, in a way, kind of like, you know, sort of like, how do you do it? You know, like, what do you do when you want to do something, but people are telling you no, or people are telling you can't do it, and I got a lot of that. You know, I got a lot of that, you know, and I just was like, you know what, if you believe it and you believe in your heart that this is something like you know what I mean? You just said, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And
All
that's
in.
when you
found
win.
out that you guys are very, very alike.
Yeah. We're cancers.
Exactly.
Robin, but no, listen, I'm going to let you go. We got kids we got to go back to, but you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming.
Fun.
Thank you so much for your time and coming in.
We're going to end unofficially, it'll cut, but we're going to end, and I pulled this up.
Okay.
And we're going to watch this performance. Dude, so this is 2020. You guys are promoting stuff that's never gonna come out, bro. This needs to happen. She is amazing.
Right,
They all look at all of them. This is
I know.
so good.
I know.
Robin,
I want to be them.
Let's end with that.
We cried after because we had not seen each other.
This is so good.
In 10 years.
Wow.
Robin, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This is so amazing.
Thank you so much. You are the best.
Thank you.
Oh,
I love you.
gosh, thank you.
Oh. So, and when are you guys coming back?
We're back.
Dancing?
When are you back?
I want to be back ASAP. I
Okay,
mean, I just need to get into the studio. I need to get my body working again. Get the oil in there. You know.
Alone, you wet, whatever. Just come. Just our studio. Your studio.
Thank you. Truly, you're so inspiring.